Girl, it's been so long since I held you in my arms. So I picked up pen and paper and decided to write you the song. Things just ain't the same since you took your love away. And all I have is dark and lonely days, 'cause the sun don't shine my way. I wish that I can find the words to say to show you love is real. But words just can't express the way I feel. 'Cause you're my angel, my sun up in the sky. We've been through hell and back together. Why you wanna leave me now? And only you can ease this pain I feel and wipe my tears away. Won't you fly back home and make me whole again?
Sexual chocolate!
On the gridiron or courtside, you know what time it is. It's
Sports plus life. Sports plus life.
ringside or front court or field pass. We ballin' no. Knuckle up or buckle up. I tell it like it is when I'm on my show. Home run, slam dunk, knockout, or gossip go.
Sports plus life.
Yeah.
Sports plus life.
Yo, 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 yo! What's up? What's really good? It's your boy Brandon Brevon Towns, host of that show called Sports Plus Life. You dig me? And y'all already know what's going down today, bruh. So guess what? Guess what? Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it all the way off now, boy. Yeah. I'm going to figure out a way to enter off of that I'm going to stick with consistently. But anyway, please allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Brandon Brevon Towns, and this is Sports Plus Life, that there's sports podcast where we talk about all of the necessary things in sports or topics in sports and all of the necessary topics in life. And I hope everybody's doing good, doing well. Look, straight up, I got a late start today. I really did. I didn't, particularly sleep that well last night. For whatever reason, I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning and didn't end up going back to sleep till about like 7:30. Thank Lord that there was no school today. And I keep on forgetting what the holiday is. Columbus Day. That's still a holiday? Okay. Whatever. But, the song that I sung, that I sung to begin off the show, that's just always been one of my favorite songs to sing. So I don't want nobody to think, oh, what's he going through? I ain't going through nothing. I ain't going through nothing, bro. I'm good. I'm good over here. I actually was listening to one of the playlists that I have on my YouTube page, Boys to Men versus Drew Hill. I listened to the whole thing. Just it had the music playing in my ear. And I've always enjoyed singing that song. I've performed that song in multiple places, actually. It's something easy. It's something easy for my voice. A lot of times I would sing that. So if I knew I was performing and I was going to do about 3 or 4 songs, I would a lot of times use that one as a warm-up song just to get my voice straight. And now, because of all the tobacco that I've taken in over the span of my life, that's one of the songs that I sing that I know I ain't gonna screw up on now. So, it is what it is. Won't you fly back home and make me whole again? See how easy that's just easy. That's just easy for me. But anyway, it is Monday, October the 11th, 2021. I'm going to be real. By the time you guys get this, by the time this is uploaded, it will probably be Tuesday. I'm just being real. I'm just keeping it 100. I'm keeping it a buck. Because like I said, late start, real late start. Like I was honestly contemplating on just waiting until tomorrow to do this. Tony's hit me up a couple of times, and I know he is riding high, flying high, feeling good. You know what I'm saying? Cowboys out there looking good or whatnot. So I know he got a lot of stuff he gonna want to say. I'm gonna bring him on. I'm gonna bring him on here in a little bit. But I gotta get my early show diatribe out. But first, once again, send shout outs to all of my people. Much love, and just hope everybody again is doing well. That day is coming. We got less than a month until November 5th, the Highland Springs versus Verona game. Also, the class of 2001 getting back together to chop it up at that game. But honestly, real talk, at that football game, it don't matter what the hell class you graduated with, man. Come out and show support. Show your black and gold love. Again, shout outs to everybody. Keep the love bombs going. Keep the positive energy going on social media. And particularly when I say on social media, because one reason why I really don't get on social media like that, like I used to, is because I just see so much drama and so many pity parties. It's kind of like, no. Now, Saturday night, if y'all saw me Saturday night, I was on Facebook Live quite a few times because I was with my boy. We were watching the fight, the Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder fight, and nigga, I mean, what a fight. But anyway, I was acting a fool. I was just acting a fool. I was just having fun. I was having fun, and Alicia and Heather want to keep on coming on there, messing with me, trying to start some stuff with me. I'm like, look here, damn it. First of all, you're going to stop talking about my phone being glitchy, because there wasn't nothing glitchy about it. That was your stuff, cuz. That was y'all stuff, okay? All right? So don't be trying to put me out there like that, all right? That's all right, because I'm gonna get y'all. I'm going to get you back. No, I'm just messing around. But yeah, I just have fun, man. I just have fun. But yeah, as far as keeping the positive vibes go, yeah, let's definitely look to do that on social media, because that's definitely a need. Because like I said, too many pity parties and all that stuff going on. People out there sometimes, will look for validation in the form of a like from people that, I'm not trying to be funny, people that really don't matter. Like, real talk. From people that truly like what is your purpose? So those love bombs, the hashtag Spring of Love is real. Why is it real? Because we say it's real, damn it. Okay? But everybody who's out there who's just doing something to keep the positive energy going, to keep the positive frame of mind going, shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to y'all. I love y'all dearly, and y'all know I miss y'all. Y'all know who I am. I'm not even gonna go through the whole spiel of names today, because y'all know who y'all are. Y'all know exactly who you guys are, and y'all know how I feel. And if you don't, I'm gonna tell you again, I love ya. I love you very, very, very much. So anyway, let's get to these sports, man. Without further ado, baby, let's get to it. Oh, I'm going to start off today with the sweet science. Man, let me tell you something. Saturday night's third match between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder was absolutely epic. Excellent. It was absolutely classic. It wasn't always pretty, but the intensity was there. I mean, you talking about a fight. This fight quickly turned into a fight. And as I said last week, I was conventional logic said that, what was telling me that Tyson Fury was going to win because he's a far superior boxer. Of course, I was rooting for Deontay Wilder. I've been a Deontay Wilder fan since he came onto the scene. And because I don't dislike either fighter. I just was rooting for my man, Mr. Bomb Squad. But what happened is it was an 11th round knockout for Tyson Fury. And like I said, it was an absolutely epic and absolutely great fight. And I just love seeing stuff like that for the sport of boxing. When you have the WBC and the lineal heavyweight championship on the line, and it produces an epic night. Very rarely, when I order fights on pay-per-view, very rarely is it actually worth the money. This was worth every penny. And 2 of their 3 fights have been worth every penny. The first fight was another epic fight, the one that was a draw, and this fight was worth every penny. And I mean, the fight started out, the way the fight started out is Deontay Wilder came out jabbing, throwing shots to the body, going upstairs, jabbing downstairs to the body, going upstairs to the head, which I thought was a very good game plan because he wasn't allowing Tyson Fury to get off. Now, mind you, Fury came in 4 pounds heavier than he did for the second fight. He was 273 for the second fight. He was 277 for this one. Body looked kind of a little soft, but, you know, Tyson Fury, nobody knows Tyson Fury's body better than himself. So, Wilder continued that strategy into the second round. Not quite as much as the first, but in the third round, Tyson Fury started to smother him, and he caught him with a right hand right behind the ear that really can throw off your equilibrium, and it dropped Deontay Wilder. And I'm going to tell you this. After that punch, Deontay Wilder never truly looked steady on his feet for the rest of the fight. And it's just like, it's been crazy because I never, heard anything about Deontay Wilder and stamina issues because, I've seen a number of his knockouts have come late in fights. But for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the weight that Tyson Fury is leaning on him with, or he's just really catching him in the right spot. But he never looked steady on his feet, and I was just like, uh-oh, he is in trouble. And then when he got caught, the whole strategy of boxing, jabbing to the body and things like that, that all went out the window. That was the main mistake that Deontay Wilder made. But while he's looking like he's in trouble in the fourth round, I'm sitting there screaming to my homeboy Eddie. I'm like, he just needs to get out of this fourth round and he can get his legs back. Then he catches Tyson Fury with an inside right hand. You see all of the fat ripples in Tyson Fury just shake when he got hit. And I was like, wait a minute, because it was so sneaky. Usually you see Deontay just winds up and bang. But that one was so sneaky. When he hit him, Tyson Fury started to stagger a little bit. He got hit with a couple more shots. Then he dropped. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I was like, get him, finish him. So when he got up, now Wilder's on the attack, but he still wasn't totally on balance, even though he knocked him down again. And Fury went down for that second time because he was still hurt. His legs weren't back. His legs weren't back at all. Now I'm gonna tell you this, and there was a knockdown. That second knockdown, the referee screwed up the count. He did. I'm not saying conspiracy theory or anything else, or anything like that, anything of that nature, but the referee messed the count up. The second knockdown, because he's counting, and then he's at 7. Then he turns around and tells Deontay Wilder to go to a neutral corner. And then when he turned back around to Fury to start counting again, he started at 6. I was like, wait a minute, whoa, wait a minute. I was like, who is this guy? Because he's not a referee that I'm familiar with. I watch a lot of boxing. I was not familiar with this referee. Literally, he did like this. He said, 5, 6, 7. Deontay, go to a neutral corner. 6, 7. He like, wait a minute. What? Who? Come on. Now, look, I'm nobody's genius. I'm nobody's brainiac. But, I believe we learned how to count to 10 at the, preschool level. So I don't know how we go from 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, 8. What? Huh? So I went on Facebook Live and I said that. I said, man, the fight should be over. The referee screwed up the count. But then the rest of the rounds, again, Wilder just looked off balance. Fury was on the attack, but there were a couple of times where Deontay would catch him right at the end of the round. He would catch him and he would start trying to unload, but then the bell would ring. But all in all, the better person won. The better man won the fight. Everybody knew that if Deontay Wilder was going to win, he was going to need to knock Tyson Fury out, and he damn near did. And Deontay Wilder should not hold his head low for anything because he fought like a champion. He went out on his shield. He fought like a champion. He was dangerous throughout the fight. He showed champion's heart after being dropped in the third and everybody thinking it's about to be over, for him to come back and drop Fury twice in the fourth round. And on scorecards going into the 6th and 7th round was winning the fight, actually. But once again, him not being able to maintain balance. Like I said, I don't know if that was because of all of the weight that Tyson Fury was leaning on him with. And then on top of that, like I said, he stopped jabbing to the body. He stopped working the body. And Tyson Fury is a superior boxer. He is. Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight in the world, period. He is. Honestly, if he were to fight Anthony Joshua, even though, like I said last week, how boxing manages to always screw up the mega fights, he would smoke Anthony Joshua. I mean, he would. He would absolutely. Now, Anthony Joshua has way better boxing skills than Deontay Wilder. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and ignore that. Anthony Joshua, he can box. But he has a very, very glassy, like his chin is way worse than Deontay Wilder. That was the first time I ever seen Deontay Wilder drop with these two fights with Tyson Fury. And yeah, he would smoke AJ. And by the way, AJ has exercised the rematch clause in his fight with Usyk, so they're gonna fight again. So if you're thinking about when you could possibly get Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua, with I guess all of the marbles on the line, if Anthony Joshua successfully wins his rematch and then becomes a 3-time heavyweight champion, realistically, because let's see what we're in October now, realistically you probably won't get that fight till around next summer, late next summer actually, because think about it, it's October now. He just fought in the middle of September, so you probably won't see a rematch again till early next year. It'd be nice to see it before the year ends, honestly, but you probably won't get that until about February or March. And should Anthony Joshua win, then you probably won't get a Joshua versus Tyson Fury fight until probably about July or August. And also, if you're Tyson Fury, you're going to have to stay active. You're going to have to fight at least one more fight in that time frame just to stay busy, if anything like that. Now, who does he fight? I mean, who's his mandatory? Is it Luis King Kong Ortiz? Or is it some tomato can that nobody heard of before? And also the question more or less of where does Deontay Wilder go now? Because he's not going to get a championship fight from anybody anytime soon. I'm going to be honest with you. Let's say and this is just a scenario I'm just thinking of off the top of my head. If, let's say Usyk beats Anthony Joshua and he, keeps the title, he keeps the multiple championship belts, then I would like to see Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder fight. Of course, this fight would have been an over-the-top pot of gold fight in 2008 and 2018, but boxing found a way to fuck that up. They did. But I would still like to see them fight, and then I would like to see a unification fight between Fury and Usyk, I guess. But again, in regards to Saturday night's event, it was absolutely sensational. It really was. It was sensational. The fight itself was everything that I could have hoped for, except for the end result with who won the fight. I was rooting for a Wilder, and Fury won the fight, but Fury's the better fighter. It's really that simple. I realized that after the first fight, even though Deontay Wilder cold cocked him and really I thought he knocked him out in that first fight, but when Tyson Fury sat up like he was the Undertaker and got back up, I was like, oh hell. And ever since then, Tyson Fury has had his number, and what he's done is just bring the fight to him, and he's gotten dropped in the process. But you know what, he still gets up, he still wins. And he is the king. The Gypsy King is the king of the heavyweight division by far. Now, as far as styles making fights, don't know what you would see if you were to get a fight between Tyson Fury and Usyk. But I think Anthony Joshua better handle his business, because even though that fight has lost a lot of luster between Fury and Joshua because of Joshua losing twice, it will still be a huge event, particularly in London, in England. Definitely. But I was on Facebook acting a damn fool, man. I was. Well, I don't want to say acting a fool, but I was having fun. You know, when I watch a pay-per-view fight, I'll go live on Facebook. I'll go live on IG just to mess around and just to have some fun, you know. But like I said, great night for boxing. Really special fight. So now it is time for me to transition to the NF of the L. Oh, week 5 scores are in the book. Everything except for the Monday Night Football game. But again, everything else is in the books, and I will indeed start with the Thursday night game, which was the Los Angeles Rams at the Seattle Seahawks, a game where both quarterbacks suffered finger injuries. Russell Wilson's appears to be more serious because when Matthew Stafford suffered his, he came back in the game. Russell Wilson did not, and you saw Geno Smith. I was like, hold up, Geno Smith is still in the league? And not only did he come in, he came in and led 2 scoring drives. I'm like, wait a minute. The interception he threw, that wasn't his fault. Tyler Lockett fell. But end result is the Rams won 26-17, and Russell Wilson could be out for 4 to 8 weeks. Now, look, if Russell Wilson is out for 2 months, their season is done. Look, Geno looked good for a quarter. Do I trust that for 2 months? Nah, bruh. On the Sunday's game, the first one early in the morning for us here in America, the game was in London between the Falcons and the Jets. Nobody really cared about that game, but the Falcons did win 27-20, so they are now 2-3. The Green Bay Packers at the Cincinnati Bengals, a battle of 3-1 teams, and it was a very good game. And the Packers won in overtime, and probably the game where you saw the worst quality of field goal kicking ever at a game, because I want to say, what were there, 5 missed field goals, and that was just near the end of regulation and overtime. And finally, Mason Crosby, who had missed 3 field goals already, made one near the end of overtime. So the Packers win 25-22. They're 4-1. The Bengals are impressive. I will say that. They are coming along faster than what I think people may have realized. This is almost a repeat of 10 years ago when Carson Palmer left, and then you had Andy Dalton and A.J. Green, and you were like, okay, well, the Bengals aren't going anywhere this season. They're in the middle of a rebuild. But then they ended up going to the playoffs for the next 5 years in a row. And Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd, these dudes can play.
Damn right.
And they are going to be tough for anybody. So this is in the NFC North, we were talking about, well, it's really just a 2-team race between Baltimore and Cleveland, maybe Pittsburgh, but Cincinnati's going to be a cellar dweller. Not so fast. The next game, the Detroit Lions, Tony's Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. You know what? I felt bad for the Detroit Lions. Matter of fact, I felt bad for the Detroit Lions on 2 of their losses because they looked listless through the whole game. But then throw together this furious fourth quarter rally. They score a touchdown to come within 1 point. You think they're going to kick the extra point. It's only 37 seconds left. And instead, they go for 2. I'm like, what are you doing? But they convert. So they lead 17-16, 37 seconds left. And then you allow Kirk Cousins to complete a couple of deep balls. Now, the field goal kicker for Minnesota still had to make a 54-yarder, but in the most Detroit Lions way, he makes the field goal. The Detroit Lions, they have played just well enough to lose so many times, and they had Dan Campbell crying in the press conference because that's tough. Because first you lose by an NFL record 66-yard field goal to Baltimore that hits off the bottom upright and goes in. And then you take the lead with less than a minute left to go, and you find a way to lose that game too by another really long field goal. I mean, damn. The Lions are 0-5, and you feel bad for them because they really are fighting tooth and nail every game. They really are. My Denver Broncos fell to the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. You know, it's kind of disappointing. It was disappointing, and as a positive I'll take out of it as a Bronco fan. The disappointment is as soon as we stepped up in competition after our first 3 games, we've lost them both. We lost to Baltimore last week. Then we lost to Pittsburgh. What I'm going to take away confidence, where I'm going to take away a positive note from is we were getting spanked by Pittsburgh for the majority of the game. Then we put together a furious fourth quarter rally, and Teddy Bridgewater on 4th and goal with a chance to tie the game, a touchdown to give yourself a chance for a 2-pointer to tie the game. He had nowhere to go. He threw an interception. I kind of just shrugged my shoulders like, well, okay. We're still 3-2. And our schedule, the rest of our schedule, the schedule for the rest of the season is tough. So, we have had a lot of injuries, but those players will come back with the exception of KJ Hamler. So I'm gonna go glass half full instead of glass half empty with my Denver Broncos. As for the Pittsburgh Steelers, you see what happens when you have a good running game? Najee Harris had over 100 yards and a touchdown. And here's the funny part about this, right? Like on my fantasy team, in the fantasy league I play in, I have Deontay Johnson and Najee Harris, and I came so close to sitting them just because I'm like, I don't want y'all to do shit against my team, but I kept them, and they got me huge points yesterday. So even when I lose, I win. Okay. Next game, Dolphin at Bucks. I'm just coming to the realization the Dolphins are bad again. At least for the time being. Tampa put up 45 points on him. Tom Brady had 5 touchdown passes. Tom Brady you can make a case that he's the best quarterback in the NFL again. Next game, Saints versus Washington. New Orleans wins 33-22. What the hell happened to Washington's defense? I mean, I actually saw Chase Young get a strip sack, but other than that, what the hell happened with Washington's defense that was supposed to be the calling card of their football team? But the Saints go to 3-2. Washington falls to 2-3. And joining them in the 2-3 spot in the NFC East is the Philadelphia Eagles, as they had a come-from-behind victory as they defeated the Carolina Panthers, another team that started 3-0 that has now lost 2 straight. Here's the difference between the then 3-0 Panthers and, again, the then 3-0 Denver Broncos. Teddy Bridgewater actually looked good yesterday, and I'm glad he played because I know he had the concussion against Baltimore. Uncle Teddy B actually played well. Sam Darnold played like trash yesterday. He really did. He looked bad. Jalen Hurts didn't light the world on fire, but he made enough plays to do what they had to do to win the game. Next game in the week, AFC South, the Tennessee Titans beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 37-19. Derrick Henry had 3 touchdowns, and Jacksonville, they're bad. I mean, they're 0-5. Trevor Lawrence can throw the ball all over the yard, but they stink. Outside of Trevor Lawrence and wide receivers, James Robinson's a damn good running back, but the rest of their roster is no good. We'll talk about Urban Meyer later. I have some things I want to say on that situation. Next game, the New England Patriots have a come-from-behind victory at Houston, which kind of surprised me because I figured the Patriots would slaughter them. Bill Belichick's defense going against a rookie quarterback. Davis Mills played well. He had 3 touchdowns, but at the end, who? Mac Jones. Who? Mac Jones. Who? Mac Jones. Let it come from behind victory. Patriots are now 2-3. The Chicago Bears went to Vegas. See, people want to ride that Raiders train so quick. They were 3-0. Another 3-0 team that has lost 2 straight. And the Raiders looked bad yesterday doing it. Justin Fields, who is now the starter going forward, he ain't look great. But Khalil Mack, the former Raider, and that Bears defense looked fantastic. And the Bears beat the Raiders in Vegas 20-9, and my uncle Michael want to talk shit to me right after we lost to Pittsburgh. Just gonna text me something that just says Steelers. So I ain't say nothing. I just waited until his team lost and looked worse than mine in doing so. I just text Bears. Simple as that. Now, talk your stuff now, pimp. Anyway, the game of the day was the Cleveland Browns at the Los Angeles Chargers. Bruh, I'm gonna say it like this. Cleveland does not trust Baker Mayfield. This is another game where they should have won. They lost. It was a shootout, 42-47. Both defenses need to look at themselves. Well, you know what? Honestly, if I'm a coach and my defense gave up over 40 points, but then the other team's defense gave up over 40 points too, you just throw that film in the garbage. Honestly. Throw that film in the trash. But let me tell you something. It was 42-41. And Cleveland had a 3rd and 10. If they had got a a first down. They were deep in their own territory, too. If they hadn't gotten the first down, they could have started making the Chargers use their timeouts. They ran the ball. Now, look, they have the best O-line in football. They have the best running attack in football, 2 all-pro running backs. But 3rd and 10, you know the defense is coming. You have a chance where you can start salting the game away. They ran the ball. And as soon as they did that, I said, they really don't trust Baker Mayfield. And Baker Mayfield threw for over 300 yards. I said, they really don't trust him. That was a horrible call in that situation. So when the Chargers got the ball back, I already knew it was going to happen. I said, Justin Herbert, you can't stop Justin Herbert right now. And I told you at the beginning of the season, this dude is going to be in the conversation for top 5 quarterback in the league by the time this season is over with. So the Chargers are 4-1. They win 47-42. Next game, the New York Giants versus the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys won 44-20 in a game where, you know, it was nice and competitive, and then all of the Giants' top skill position players all got hurt, one after the other. Saquon Barkley, sprained ankle. Daniel Jones, concussion. Kenny Golladay, knee, having an MRI today. And then their rookie, Kadarius Toney, who had an awesome game, 10 catches, 189 yards, gets ejected because he punches one of the Cowboys players in the face. Well, tried to anyway. He had a helmet on. Like, why you going to ball your fist up and throw a punch at a dude who's wearing a helmet so you can break your hand, dummy? But he still had an awesome game. But he got ejected. The Giants got their ass beat. I know Cowboy fans are rolling. Are they rolling? They riding high. We them boys. We 4-1. Give it time, motherfuckers. Y'all fall is coming. I will say this about your defense, though. Very well improved from last year. Of course, it'd be hard not to be. I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm not going to go into overdrive like some Cowboy fans have done and say, oh, look at our lockdown defense. No, you don't have a lockdown defense. You have a potential cornerback who could be labeled as a lockdown cornerback. I'm not going to take anything away from Diggs. He is playing phenomenal. But you have an opportunistic defense. And that works. That can work. You have an opportunistic defense, and right now you're taking advantage of all the opportunities that you are getting. I'm not going to say shut down. I'm going to say opportunistic. But y'all just wait, because now Cowboy fans are riding high. You know, they feeling themselves. They saying it with their chests, which is going to make the fall all the more sweeter. Hey, look, if you're satisfied with going to the playoffs, cool. Because, I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, the Giants are going to win the division. No, that ship has sailed. Honestly, did you see Saquon Barkley's ankle? You know, that ship has sailed. But this is going to make the fall all the more sweeter. It really is. Next game, NFC West battle. The 49ers at the Cardinals. Trey Lance got his first start. Didn't play great. Didn't play horrible. But the undefeated Cardinals stayed undefeated. Now, the 49ers defense held the Cardinals, who were the highest scoring team in the league, to just 17 points. The problem is they could only muster 10. And Kyler Murray did what he had to do when he had to do it. He may be the leading candidate thus far through the first quarter of the season for the NFL MVP, but it ain't by much. And I tell you why, because that boy, Josh Allen for the Buffalo Bills, last night put on a show at Arrowhead Stadium right in front of Patrick Mahomes, and the Buffalo Bills got a semblance of payback from last year's loss in the AFC Championship game to the Kansas City Chiefs as they smacked the Chiefs 38-20. Josh Allen was terrific. How many touchdown passes did he have? 4? 2 to Emmanuel Sanders, 1 to Dawson Knox. The Buffalo Bills, like I said, with the exception of that head-scratching loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers, may be the best team in football. Seriously. I mean, seriously. They are very well balanced, and they are beating the crap out of people. They really, really are. And they are not to be trifled with. They are really not to be trifled with. So those are the scores this week for the NFL's Week 5 edition. Like I said, all that has not been settled is the Colts versus the Ravens, and that is tonight on Monday Night Football. And you guys already know what time it is, the most wonderful time of the year. You know, I got to bring my dog on here, boy. He is riding high. He's feeling himself. He is saying it with his chest. Let me tell you what this man just told me. Did I just learn the geography lesson? That the world is made mostly of water. 75% of the world is water. The other 20-some% is covered by Trayvon Diggs. I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. What up, bro?
Yo, what's going on, man?
Man, I'm gonna tell you this. This is what I said about your squad as far as the defense goes. I said you have a much improved defense from last year. You know, I'm not gonna deny that. Now, are they now? Do I think of them as a shutdown defense? No. Diggs is turning into a shutdown corner. Yes. But what the Cowboys have this year, and this type of defense works, is opportunistic. You have an opportunistic defense, and you're taking advantage of every opportunity that you're getting thus far. So I'll give credit where credit is due. But when you say, he said to me earlier that 16 teams legitimately have a chance to win the Super Bowl, I don't disagree with that. And I would put Dallas in that. I'll put Dallas in that 16-team discussion, but I don't think you're gonna win it. But you're in that discussion. Like if you said to me right now, well, you know, in the other 16 teams, if you said to me, let's see, Cleveland has a legit chance to win the Super Bowl, I'll tell you right now, they ain't gonna win it. Especially how Stefanski just showed yesterday how he really don't trust Baker Mayfield. But yeah, so that's what I meant by that. Your thoughts?
My thoughts. I told you the only thing that I fear is Mike McCarthy coaching at some point does us in. From a talent perspective, defense is trending up, and it's only going to get stronger because we're missing 5 starters. One of those being DeMarcus Lawrence, who's one of the better edge rushers in the league. The only concern that we ever really had defensively was being able to stop the run. The pass defense was trending up last year anyway, but the run, was terrible, and that kept us in the bottom of the league. Even that's going up. So, like I said, I think that based on that, and then there's other factors like Michael Gallup he played one game sparingly. So there's a lot to like, but one thing I will say about defense, and this is really all that matters, and I can't remember what team it was. It was a strange statistic that one of the Super Bowl winners, they were like 20-something in total team defense, but they led the league in turnovers.
That would have been my Super Bowl champion 97 Denver Broncos.
Right. And so that's all that matters. The fact that you get those turnovers, people get all the yards they want, this, that, and the other. But if you got that bend but don't break, and you can defend that red zone, you get them turnovers, and more importantly, cash them in. But from an offensive standpoint, Zeke's on pace for 1,500 yards. Tony Pollard's on pace for 1,000. A game like yesterday, where you got 2 running backs. You understand? You had 200 and something yards rushing, but your quarterback still got over 300. That's difficult to deal with. And I think Kansas City is learning something that I guess maybe Jerry looks like a genius, because the one thing I guess with our team for years is the pundits would say, they got so much invested in their O-line. They got all this money invested in their O-line. Well, right now, Kansas City's Achilles heel is the O-line.
I would disagree with that.
Okay.
I'm not saying that that's their strongest point, but Kansas City's Achilles heel is their defense. They can't stop a sinker running water.
Yeah, but Kansas City historically in that type of situation, they could just outscore you. Like literally, they put up 45, whatever. Okay, beat you that way. Now, week in and week out, you see Patrick Mahomes under serious duress. Serious, and they're not putting up these 40 burgers.
Well, what I'll say to that is they put up a 40 burger last week. But I get what you're saying. But see, I think you're dealing with a situation with Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City's offensive where I don't think that the Chiefs' offense has fallen off. I think that NFL defenses have caught up. And one thing that Patrick Mahomes does do that he gets away with because he's supremely talented when it comes to him being under a lot of duress, he holds the ball for a very long time. So, I mean, I guarantee you if he did more drop back quick throws, like you see Tom Brady do, or like you see Justin Herbert do, or even like you see Josh Allen do, that it would make that offensive line look a lot better. I mean, how many of Patrick Mahomes' plays are ad-lib plays? And it's not because of the fault of the offensive line. He's looking for the big play. He's looking for Tyreek Hill deep down the field, or he's looking for Travis Kelce to make some kind of a circus catch. I think they did well in investing in their line, but NFL defenses have caught it. Look, what we saw from the Chiefs in 2018 and 2019, you knew that it was just going to be a matter of time before the league caught up. If you think about last year's Chiefs, even though they went to the Super Bowl, they had one game where they truly destroyed a team. All of the rest of their games were close. They destroyed Buffalo in the AFC Championship game, but all of the rest of their games were close. So it was just a matter of time before defenses started to catch up. I don't think that the O-line is the Chiefs' Achilles heel. Their defense stank. Their defense stinks. Outside of the Honey Badger, they can't stop nothing. Nothing. And that's really the problem, because now what their offense is going to end up needing to do is starting to put together more long drives to give their defense time off the field instead of the 75-yard touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill, which may get the crowd hyped. But if your defense is still tired, you know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen?
Pretty much.
Exactly. Exactly. So, but now, don't get me wrong. As a Broncos fan, I don't give a damn. Okay? And even though I know we lost yesterday, seeing the Chiefs lose to Buffalo didn't hurt my feelings one bit. Matter of fact, we both predicted that Buffalo would beat Kansas City, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
What you think of my boy Herbert now?
I told you.
I'm a Cowboy, but I've been telling you this dude is for real. He passed the eye test.
But I told you at the beginning of the season that by the end of the season, we will be talking about Justin Herbert as a top 5 quarterback. I know what this dude can do. There's one person right now on planet Earth who is really kicking themselves in the face for not drafting him. Brian Flores.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that ultimately he still would have been good, but I mean, it don't hurt to have them wide receivers. It don't hurt.
Well, it's not like Miami's wide receivers are bad. Devontae Parker's a good receiver. Will Fuller, when he's healthy, is a good receiver. Gesicki is a good tight end. It's not like Miami doesn't have. Remember, I told you this a couple weeks ago. Miami's rebuild process is supposed to be over. It's supposed to be full speed ahead. And guess what? They're bad again. And Justin Herbert is going to be an all freaking pro.
This is true. This is true for a number of years going forward, actually.
Yes. Yes, this dude, Justin Herbert, that dude, and honestly, Cleveland should have won that game yesterday. To be all jokes aside, Cleveland should have won that game. But so now the Chargers have a game on their resume that they lost. They should have won against y'all. They should have beat Dallas, but they didn't. And now they have a game where they should have lost, but they won. And, it's just the craziness. It's just the craziness of a season. But what I saw in that game, what I was saying earlier before we got on the phone, is that you saw that Kevin Stefanski does not trust Baker Mayfield in key situations, because you're up 42-41. You got 3rd and 10. You're deep in your territory. You're under 5 minutes in the game. If you get the first down, now you can start making them use their timeouts, and you can start trying to salt the game away. On a 3rd and 10, they ran the ball.
Right. Yeah, understanding you got Nick Chubb, but come on, yeah.
And even running with Chubb, they ran it with Hunt, which is no real drop off, because Hunt is an All-Pro too. But the defense is pinning their ears back. You're not catching them with no surprise play. Throw the ball. I mean, like when as soon as that play happened, I said, "Oh, the Chargers gonna win." It was just a matter of would it be by a field goal or would it be by a touchdown? And how can you be looking for a max contract if you Baker Mayfield and your quarterback won't even put the ball in your hands to end the game?
That's right. That's right. Max contract quarterbacks want that ball in those situations.
Right.
Max contract quarterbacks. There was a sequence in that game where it was fourth and
fourth and 8.
And there was no hesitation.
None.
We going.
None.
We going.
None. None whatsoever. And I'm thinking about all these young quarterbacks that are in the league whose coach is going to put the ball in their hand. Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson. Dak Prescott. The coach is going to put the ball in their hand and say, you're either going to make it or break it. But they're going to get the opportunity. Baker Mayfield didn't even get a chance. And he threw for only 3.
Situations, you do have that confidence that that they can get it. So,
but he threw for over 300 yards.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that Stefanski has apologized to his quarterback today for that decision. I guarantee. Look, I understand that you have the best O-line in football and you have the best run. You got 2 All-Pro running backs. But in that type of situation, like when they went for it on 4th and 1 from the goal line, okay, you can get a yard. Yeah, of course, I'd go for that. But when you're talking about being able to ice the game away, what the hell are you running for? And it's 3rd and 10? I can see if it was like 3rd and 3, maybe even 3rd and 4. 3rd and 10? And you gonna run it? Really? And you're
gonna catch the whole world off guard, right?
You got Odell Beckham. And Njoku had over 100. You got Hooper, Peoples Jones. Like, really? You're not going to catch but so many people off guard when everybody knows your bread and butter is running the football.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's your max quarterback, though.
Man. Oh, my goodness. But, quick topic back to your Cowboys. You called it a couple weeks ago when you said Jalen Smith was going to be the odd man out, and sure enough, earlier last week he was cut. With Micah Parsons and then Keanu Neal, Van Der Esch being healthy, Jalen Smith was the odd man out. Elaborate.
It had less to do with that, but I will point out something about Jalen Smith, and I mentioned the name Jabril Cox, and there is this thing called progress stopper, and sometimes on your roster you have a guy that's ahead of a guy that you may view in a future role that you want to fast tracking, and so there's a progress stopper who doesn't show a significant talent gap between that second guy that you want to get on the field. That was the case with Jalen Smith. You saw Jabril Cox played limited yesterday, but that was the person that Daniel Jones ran into. Now, the fact that he was able to get there to make that tackle, Jalen Smith would not have made that play. He wouldn't have been fast enough to make that play. He may not even have the instinct to sniff out that play. But $9.2 million says they had to part ways. Ultimately, Jalen himself said it was a business move. He has a $9.2 million injury guarantee. The Cowboys actually approached him about waiving that going forward. Jalen, doing what a smart business person, probably on the advice of his agent anyway, declined to waive that. The Cowboys said we can't risk it. They're in a win now mode, and if this dude, we saw the injuries in the Giants game. This dude get injured. That's $9.2 million going forward with your cap. It was a good move. Ultimately, it was a good move. Jabril Cox is a younger, faster, definitely better coverage linebacker, and again, $9.2 million.
Well, the Green Bay Packers have him now. So, what did you think of the Stephon Diggs trade? Not Stephon Diggs, Stephon Gilmore.
As I told you, I think that we were interested, but again, I think it probably came down to, okay, and that was a good move, Carolina. I mean, great move, but bear in mind, this dude wants money next year. And I think ultimately that's what it, came down to. Maybe Carolina's capologists say, hey, we can afford to keep him. Yeah, now we've got him, because Carolina's not in a win-nothing mode. But
well, a lot of people thought by them making that move that they were in a win-now mode. Sam Darnold just looked horrible yesterday against the Eagles.
Well, this is the second cornerback, and so on paper you look and say, man, their secondary gonna be beastly. They have to win it now, because again, Gilmore is looking for that last payday, and arguably this dude is still top cornerback, one of the top cornerbacks in the league. So like I said, I would have loved to have him, but that price tag, no. You can have 5-6 quality players for the amount of money this dude is going to command next year.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, when he went...
And I think the other reason why we bowed out is, as I said, we're missing a lot of people on out there on the field, and one of those people is a second-round draft pick cornerback that probably he may not play this Buffalo game, but I promise you, after the bye, you're going to see him on the field.
Buffalo, y'all don't play Buffalo next.
Not Buffalo.
New England.
New England game. You're gonna see him on the field. That's Kelvin Joseph.
That's an interesting game too. That's a fascinating game to me.
Well, one thing we do know, and this is where that coaching thing comes in, Bill Parcells is an expert at taking away whatever it is you do best.
You mean Belichick?
Attempting to. Belichick, yeah. Taking away whatever. I'm going to put this game controller down because I'm just stumbling and stammering. But he's one of the best coaches ever of taking away the thing that you do best, or at least attempting to do that. I don't know if New England can stop our run, but if there's a coach that's gonna scheme a way to potentially do that, it would be him. Right.
Because that's the way that Tampa game went, it didn't surprise me a bit. Because I think people was so on the Tom Brady gravy train of wanting to see him blow Bill Belichick out. Y'all must have forgot how this dude can game plan and get his team ready, no matter how many stars you got. And Tampa's receiving crew is just as deep or deeper than Dallas's, and they were on lock. I mean, the one mistake Belichick made was going for it, was going for a field goal, and on 4th and short, sending his kicker to kick a 56-yard field goal out in the pouring rain. That's the one mistake he made.
That's what I was going to say. Were they really on lock, or did the weather kind of help to keep them on lock? That's how that typically goes. It was a lot easier. The weather played a part in that game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it played a part, but, when it comes to X's and O's, nobody's better. And that particular game, when when you're that familiar with a player, as familiar as he is with Tom Brady, I'm sure, like I said, even if the weather was perfect, I believe it may have been more points scored, but I think that game would have been still, I believe it. I don't believe Tampa would have blown them out. I just didn't see that happening. But, oh, man. So, okay, let me ask you a question. So now a quarter of the season is gone. Who is your biggest surprise, as far as a, positive surprise, in the NFC and the AFC?
Positive surprise in the NFC and the AFC. Well, this is gonna sound a little, off considering yesterday, but I'm gonna say Darnold, not a team, but a player, Sam Darnold, because he's shown flashes of the guy that he was expected to be. One could argue the absence of Christian McCaffrey makes that harder, and yesterday he didn't help his cause, but he's no longer doesn't have that bust label on him anymore, I don't think. You can see that there's talent there. So I'll go Sam Darnold in terms of player. I don't know that there's a surprise team in the NFC. So I'll just leave that. Leave it at that. I don't know if there's a surprise team in the NFC. I think everybody is in the NFC is right where, potential expectations. In the AFC is Herbert. It's the Chargers. My secondary thing, I want to say Big Ben, but I don't know the demise of Big Ben. But we kind of expected it.
Right, exactly.
So that's not a surprise.
And especially when I saw that the offensive line was still, hadn't gotten any better, it actually gotten worse. I'm just mad we lost to him. We put up.
It would have been Chucky. I would have thrown Chucky up in there, but the Raiders are coming back down to earth a little bit.
Oh, they look bad yesterday. They look bad.
So I got to go with the Chargers. Chargers are the surprise in the AFC side, and Sam Darnold getting rid of the bus label in the NFC.
Okay, I'm as far as I don't want to say I have anything as far as individual players for the NFC as far as surprise in a positive way, but I think to me the surprise is the Arizona Cardinals. Not that they're good, but I didn't see them coming out the gate 5-0. I didn't see that. I had them, and a little luck came with that. You have Minnesota missing the field goal, a chip shot field goal to win, but it is what it is. That happens during the football season. I didn't see them being the last undefeated team left. I knew they had talent. I called them to make the playoffs, but I didn't have them coming out undefeated. As far as the AFC goes, I'm actually going to go with the Bengals, even though they lost yesterday. I mean, they lost because you saw an all-time display of awful kicking in that game. But
are the Bengals a surprise?
No, they had no expectations, none.
Okay, yeah. They were trending upward.
I mean, they were still picked to finish last in the division, and they still might. Who knows? But I mean, they were not seen. They didn't have any expectations because you had Burrow just coming off of an injury. Remember during the preseason, everybody said Jamar Chase couldn't catch anymore, and he's been an absolute beast. And for all intents and purposes, they should have won that game yesterday. I mean, honestly. And remember, I told you a couple weeks ago. I remember how you said that you thought the Colts would be a tough out for anybody. And I said, I'm going to have to put that label on Cincinnati because they actually I gave an example of 10 years ago how they're ahead of schedule like they were 10 years ago. Remember when Carson Palmer refused to come back? Ultimately, he was traded to the Raiders, and they drafted Andy Dalton. They drafted A.J. Green, and they were supposed to be seen as a rebuilding team, but they ended up going to the playoffs 5 years in a row.
Right.
And, so this is kind of giving me that vibe that Cincinnati may be ahead of schedule from what we thought they were going to be. Burrow can play. Jamar Chase can play. Mixon can play. Tyler Boyd can play. Their defense isn't, it's not elite, but it's not awful. So I have them as my surprise team from the AFC. Now, who would be your biggest disappointment in the AFC and the NFC?
Well, disappointment, obviously Pittsburgh in the AFC. And that's Big Ben aside. that's Big Ben aside. They still got weapons, but sometimes you just can't tell it. Like they just disappear. So Pittsburgh, and in the NFC, I'm gonna say Minnesota.
Okay. Minnesota. Okay. All right.
Because they have the weapons. They have fundamentally the same roster. Nobody expects them to be world beaters, but they just look tragic. They do. They just look tragic.
All right. Well, for me, the AFC, I would have to say, I mentioned them earlier. Miami.
Yeah, but Tua.
I get that, but I mean, through the whole offseason, you're trying to get Deshaun Watson in there. So how much do they really, really believe in Tua? It's not like Jacoby Brissett's a bad. I mean, he's nobody's starter, but he's in the role that he needs to be now. The reason why I say Miami is because I did not want to summariously just hand the division to Buffalo like everybody else had, but that looks like that's what's going to happen. Now, in the NFC, I got to say Washington. What happened to their defense? Their defense has been terrible. Even though I know they were 2-2 coming into yesterday, what the hell happened to their defense?
I don't know. I mean, going in, I said, I didn't view them as a threat, but I said it'd be a headache dealing with them a couple games a year simply because of that defense. But they look like puppy dogs.
Exactly.
They look like puppy dogs.
Exactly. That's the only reason why I didn't say the Giants, because one, all the Giants' top skill position players are hurt now. And I knew their offensive line was no good. But Washington, okay, I never had trust in Fitzpatrick anyway. I thought Heineke should have been starting from the jump. And their defense has let them down. Their defense has just not been what it was a year ago.
I say what I say, still say what I say about Heineke, though. If you go look at Heineke's greatest highlights, type in a YouTube video, look at his greatest highlight, is with him, like, falling down and he just throw it up there. It is that fact that he has competent receivers that will go get that ball makes him look a lot better than he is. Because a lot of them balls out there, they just throwing out there, and he's hoping for the best.
But you know what?
McLaurin is a really good wide receiver.
He's a damn good. But you know what Heineke has done that Ryan Fitzpatrick hasn't done? Playing a playoff game. And Ryan Fitzpatrick has been in the league since 2004. and Heineke already has a playoff game, at least has one playoff game under his belt. That's why I said when I thought the biggest mistake that Washington made was letting Alex Smith walk. Because you let go of a quarterback, I know the injury, whatever, a quarterback who consistently gets you to the playoffs for a quarterback that's never went to the playoffs once.
Right. Yeah.
Never. I mean, even with the injury, he took them to the playoffs last year. And you let him walk for a guy who only gets the attention that he does is because we like him, because he seems to be a nice guy. Ryan, with the Fitz magic and all of that crap, when there are expectations on Fitzpatrick, he becomes Fitz tragic. This dude has.
I liken Fitzpatrick to a guy that played a long time ago. He was a super backup. Frank Wright was a super backup.
Yeah, but Frank Wright.
Yeah.
But Frank Reich had playoff experience.
Well, this is true. Come on out. The Bills were in the playoffs all the time.
But that's what I'm saying.
Frank Reich was one of those guys that, if you had to win a game, you'd hedge your bets and say this dude could win it. But in asking him to play a whole season,
See, a lot of people want to say, well, Ryan Fitzpatrick could be the best backup quarterback in football. No, he's not. That's Nick Foles. That's still Nick Foles. This dude won a Super Bowl. Ryan Fitzpatrick ain't been to a playoff game.
Right.
I mean, straight up. So, I mean, Washington did this to themselves. Now, with that being said, they're only 2-3. It's not like they're 0-5 or anything like that. And there's another thing I have to say. The Chicago Bears, for all the stuff that everybody talks about them and everybody wants Matt Nagy fired, they're 3-2. You know?
Right. Yeah.
You know, for all of the, and people have trashed this man over the course of the preseason and the regular season. They have a winning record. I'm gonna just leave it at that. You know, so let's make our picks for next week. Let's see who we got Thursday night. Oh Lord, Tampa at Philly.
Man.
Tampa at
Yeah.
Philly.
Should have fucked go kill them.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a murder.
Yeah. I go with Tampa too. Yep. You know, Brady's still salty about that Super Bowl. Sunday's games. Miami's an early game. I think it's a London, England game. Miami at Jacksonville. Well, Miami versus Jacksonville.
I'm going to take Miami in that one. I'm going to take Miami in that one.
Damn, this is Jacksonville's best chance to win a game. For real. Gosh, I'm going to go with Miami too, though, because I think their defense, Trevor Lawrence turns the ball over a lot. And, I mean, I guess you can expect that from a rookie. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Miami. Green Bay at Chicago. First place on the line in the NFC North.
They're at Chicago.
They're at Chicago.
I'm going to give Justin Fields the benefit of the doubt and say Bears defense is pretty nasty and familiarity with Aaron Rodgers counts for something. I'm gonna take the Bears simply because the Packers should have had an L yesterday.
Ooh, okay. Well, familiarity with Aaron Rodgers is something, and they're also familiar with the fact that he owns their ass. I'm going with Green Bay. I like the points that you make because Chicago's defense is nasty. Justin Fields ain't do nothing spectacular yesterday, but it was the Bears defense, but. Aaron Rodgers will bring him back to that cold reality. Bengals at your Detroit Lions. Dude, I feel bad for Detroit, man.
At this point, it's the Bengals. I can't, because it'll be something. The Lions will be in the game, and then something will happen.
Yeah.
The stadium lights will go out, or something. And then when they come back on, Cincinnati say, let's get the hell up out of here. Blow them out. Or something. I don't know.
So are we officially done with the Detroit will make the playoffs thing?
Yeah, we done with that. But I still maintain they're not as bad as their record indicates.
No, they're not. They just they've just had bad luck. That's all. They've had bad luck at the end of games. But I'm going with the Bengals too. Houston at Indianapolis.
Colts.
Yeah, same here, Colts. Even though Davis Mills did look good that surprised me. Against the Belichick defense, a rookie. Yeah, that did surprise me. But I am going to go with the Colts. Rams at Giants.
Yeah, okay, next game.
Right, exactly. Rams, okay. Kansas City at Washington.
This is going to be a really good week for us in the NFC East.
I'm weak.
It's going to be a really good week. Like, we get to push all three division opponents back one. Yeah, okay, so Mahomes is not going to lose to them, so carry on.
Yeah, I'm going with Kansas.
To the puppy dogs. He definitely ain't going to lose to the puppy dogs.
All right, yeah, I'm going with Kansas City too. Minnesota at Carolina. That's interesting.
It is, but Carolina.
Yeah, I'm going with the Panthers too. I am. You can't trust Minnesota. You just can't. Good game. Chargers at Ravens.
Herbert. It's still Herbert. Until somebody proves me wrong, it's still Herbert. And Baltimore's D, I just don't see them slowing that down. But at the same time, I don't see the Chargers perhaps slowing down Lamar. Whoever got the ball last wins, and I just have a little bit more confidence in Herbert now with that ball in his hands at the end.
All right, I'm going with Lamar. I'm just simple. I'm just going to go with Lamar because it's in Baltimore. Another interesting game. Undefeated Arizona at Cleveland.
I'm gonna say Cleveland. I'm gonna say Cleveland. I think Myles Garrett and them will contain Kyler.
Well, you gotta hope that Clowney plays. Well, Clowney didn't play yesterday.
That's right. I'm gonna stay with Cleveland. I'm gonna stay with Cleveland. I think it's gonna be a really low scoring game and big days on the ground for the Cleveland running back. So yeah,
that's what's gonna sell it for me too. The running attack. Yeah, I'm going with Cleveland as well. Next game, 2 3-0 teams now are 3-2 teams. The Raiders at my Broncos.
Both teams. Where are they? They're at Denver.
They're at Denver.
I'll give y'all the home game because you're at Denver.
Yeah, that's the reason why I'm gonna give it to us.
If they were at their home, I'd say them.
Yeah. What I actually was happy about with yesterday's loss is the fact that we showed heart. I know there's no moral victories, but we were getting spanked. At one point, we were down 24-6, and we came within a 4th and goal play of tying the game at the end. So I did appreciate that. And Pittsburgh still has really good defense. We're at home. We need to bounce back. Raiders have come back down to earth. You know I'm going with my Broncos. Dallas at New England.
As I said, Belichick will come up with a game plan, but you still gotta have the personnel to be able to implement that game plan. Davis Mills looked good. Dak's gonna look great.
Davis Mills plays for the Texans. You mean Mac Jones?
No, I mean Davis Mills against New England. New England's deep.
Mac Jones is the quarterback. Davis Mills is the Texans.
I know he's the quarterback.
Oh, you talking about? Okay, I got you.
Yes,
I got you.
I'm implying that the
I got you.
defense.
Yeah, I got you.
Didn't make him look pedestrian.
Yeah.
If you don't make an average guy look pedestrian, then Dak's gonna have a big day.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go with Dallas because New England just doesn't have the firepower to keep up with them. They just don't. Sunday night game, Seattle at Pittsburgh.
All sensibility says go Russell, but they're at Pittsburgh, and if there's a game that Big Ben could look like Big Ben, old Big Ben, it would be this one. Because Seattle got the puppy dog defense too. I'm going to take Pittsburgh at home.
See, here's the problem. The problem is that Russ ain't playing. Okay, his finger injury could possibly sideline him for 2 months. You ain't getting Russell. You're getting Geno Smith. Enough said. Pittsburgh's winning. At Pittsburgh.
I forgot about that finger.
Yeah. Yeah. Enough said. And the thing is that Geno actually looked good when he came in and played the other day.
Yeah,
but that was for a quarter. And you were at home, so you had the crowd on your side. You going into Pittsburgh, who's just coming off of a big win. Their defense, well, up until the 4th quarter, their defense looked solid against my boys, but they ain't losing to Geno Smith.
But what was Geno looking at? Like, that was a horrible way to lose it. What was he looking at?
That wasn't his fault. Tyler Lockett fell down. He threw it exactly where Tyler Lockett was supposed to be. And Tyler Lockett fell down, and the safety was right there. Yeah. Actually, that wasn't his fault. The Monday Night Football game, Buffalo at Tennessee.
I'm gonna stay on the Bills Mafia train because I think their defense is enough to slow Tennessee down.
Yeah, I agree with you. Plus, I think they're looking for the payback factor from last year. And Tennessee kind of embarrassed them last year on a Monday Night Football game, no less. Remember the Derrick Henry stiff arm to Josh Norman?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I think Buffalo, like I said, they might be the best team in the league, dude. They might be the best team in the league. So there's our picks for next week. There's something I want to ask you about. I just want your opinion on this. Urban Meyer. You know what I'm talking about.
I think that the media overhyped. I think the Jaguars, the initial reaction was an overreaction. Really, all he needed to do was hold a press conference the next day and apologize. All the extra stuff wasn't like he had a sex tape drop or something like that. He was dancing. He was at a bar. A woman was dancing on him. He wasn't even at a strip club.
Exactly.
Let it go. That's something between him and his wife. That it has. I challenge anybody. Find me anything in any code of conduct that would cover something like as minimal as that. That's between him and his wife. You know, I understand appearances and the front office had to talk to him, but other than that, just have him issue a statement or a little press conference and say what he say and keep it moving.
Our sentiments are the same, but you're doing way more than I would have did because, for one, it's none of the NFL or the Jacksonville Jaguars' damn business. It didn't involve any of their other coaches or personnel, players, anything like that. Like you said, he was at a bar, he was dancing, a woman was dancing on him. It was nothing that was illegal, nothing that was going to bring about any charges. Like you said, the only person he owes an apology to is his wife or significant other, or maybe those in his immediate family. The NFL needs to mind their damn business. This has nothing to do with them. This has nothing to do with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Can we get a life, please? I mean, I'm serious. You're out there dancing. Somebody's dancing on you. Like you said, this ain't a Ray J and Kim Kardashian tape being dropped. This is at a bar that is owned by him, and he is dancing. Okay, so he got a lap dance. So what? That doesn't warrant an apology or even a statement by the NFL or the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Mrs. Urban Meyer should feel some type of way, but that should be it. That's the only person who should have anything. I wouldn't.
Check this out, right? The one thing that's being discounted in this whole thing, as soon as I saw it, I said, you know, and what you're saying right now is absolutely 100%. Maybe he doesn't owe anybody anything.
Nothing.
Like, in terms of that, because for all we know, Mr. and Mrs. Urban Meyer might be on some Will and Jada.
They might be.
Type stuff.
You never know. He doesn't owe the NFL a damn thing. Look, no charges came from this. This was nothing illegal. Like you said, he wasn't even at a strip club. What the hell did the NFL have to do with that? Nothing.
Right.
Nothing. He wasn't on the field. He wasn't even on the clock. Okay, he didn't have any play. Like when I heard he wanted to apologize to the Jacksonville players for what? For what?
Yeah, you know, no grown. There's been no
for
apology.
what?
They did nothing to affect their motive. Coach, I can't believe you did that, Coach.
For what?
I'm so traumatized.
It ain't like you ain't in college no more. These are grown men with families and mortgages. You don't owe them no damn apology because you had a night on the town and you didn't even get in trouble. Are you joking? Man, shit, if I'm one of his players, I'm like, damn, coach, why you ain't take me with you? Like, for real. That's when I heard that, I was like, you have got to be. This is where we are as a society. Like, are you serious? Another thing I want to ask you about, John Gruden.
You know, I read it, and the problem with stereotypes and there's so many things you could say, and that could be interpreted as a racial thing. If Gruden had a history, or even, you know, an accusation of that, perhaps at some point, but this dude been around the NFL forever, and you've never heard a former player, nothing, ever say anything about that. I think he was taking a pop shot at the dude, and I just think the whole thick lips thing that's usually attributed in terms of comments like that as a racial. I think that's
like blackface.
Yeah, I just think that's people targeted it and said that's what he meant it as a racial thing. I mean, the dude got big lips. He got big lips. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Like, like he got a fat head. What you gonna say? Well, what you trying to imply? All black men have fat heads. I mean, I think that's how people were trying to run with it. And I just don't see that in Gruden. And like I said, there's no history. None. And this dude has been around for a while. He's been around for a good while. Long enough where somebody would have gotten a sense of something.
Well, there's one player that I've heard that has implied that type of judgment, and it was Keyshawn Johnson.
Keyshawn think everybody racist. Keyshawn literally when he was in Dallas, he think everybody is racist. Everybody.
But see, me honestly, for one, if it's an email, okay, Michelin Man lips and stuff like that. Okay, I mean, if you want to go there.
Michelin
okay.
Man, okay, this how you know it ain't racist. Michelin Man was white as shit. I mean, that's it right there. That tells you all you need to know right there.
And the one is 2011. Good Lord.
That's just some real haterism. Let me stir up some drama type mess. It is what it is.
Man, look, I'm gonna tell you something. Let me tell you something. We are gonna be in some serious deep doo-doo as a society if we go back and try to judge people from things that they have said in their past. Look, I can guarantee you this. Every grown-ass adult has said something along the lines that could be taken as offensive by another race. I know I have. I'm not even going to sit here and say that I haven't. I just know me. I'm a clown. I joke a lot. So when I make comments like that, it's not out of a place of malice. To me, it's more of a place out of, just being funny. Now, some people might not find that as funny. Okay, do you? But everybody at some point in their life has said some fucked up shit. And this cancel culture crap really gets on my nerves because cancel culture is trying to get people to do something that doesn't exist. And that's be perfect.
I can't go with you on there.
Okay, well, please elaborate.
Some things need to be canceled. There's things that historically have been accepted as, that's just the way things are. That's just who they are. Now, certain things need to be canceled. Now, I'm going to use Dave Chappelle as a perfect example, though. Dave Chappelle, none of his stand-ups need to be canceled. Why? Dave Chappelle's occupation is a comedian. That's his job. And with comedians, nobody is off limits. You can pull up just many videos of Dave Chappelle talking about white people, Dave Chappelle talking about Asian people, Dave Chappelle talking about black people.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, in that vein, it is what it is. Trans people, you're not off limits. Gay people, you never have been off limits. So that is what that is. Now, in terms of just the I think the play on word, cancel culture. Like I said, there are certain things that have been deemed acceptable because it's just happened for so long. Some of them things do need to change. They really do. But not every single thing.
Well, on a case-by-case basis, I don't disagree with you. But some people get so over the top with the whole cancel culture. Like, it's some people, like, like, I remember literally, like, earlier this year and last year, it was getting to a point where if somebody just said something that the general public didn't agree with, cancel them. Look, everybody, and for one, I hate to hear cancel culture coming from a bunch of people who need to get their own shit canceled. I mean, if you want to go there, I mean, now, on a case-by-case basis, I don't disagree with you. But so many people have just made it seem like you have to be perfect, and that does not exist. I agree with you when you say that some things do need to be canceled. Hell yeah, absolutely. But like I said, on a case-by-case basis, like I know, some people are just over the top. Some people they literally live life to find something to complain about.
Right. Well, I give you an example of wordplay and how what started as one thing, one side or one half, almost half of this country has turned into something else. What do you think? Well, in your mind, what is being woke?
To me, being woke is just being, this is just to me. To me, being woke is being aware of the, almost like, how do I explain this? Of being aware of what is really going on around you. You know how they kind of like, you have black and white and you have a gray area?
Right.
Of just realizing that great, when you say being woke, I don't just simply think about, being woke knowing that racism exists. Duh, it always has. Unless you've got to truly be blind to not see that. And there's some people who are. But, it is what it is. But to me, being woke is just understanding that there is, it's a system behind the system. I could literally go on for hours trying to explain as far as what being woke is to me. But to me, it's realizing that there is a system behind a system, and that, everything is not all what it seem to be, what it seems to be. There is a group of people out here that has the power to control the way people think and people's opinions, and you have to be careful of that. People listen, a lot of people watch TV, watch mainstream media, and take everything that is said as gold, and it could be flat out bullshit. And some people have to just be careful of that. You can't be so dependent. Being woke almost to me is like having an ability to truly think for yourself.
Well, let me elaborate on your behind the system, there's a system. Let's add a third part to that and say behind the system is a system, and a lot of it is systematic.
That's real
such
stuff.
Such as racism.
Yeah, that's real stuff.
But let me remove the mainstream from your media comment, because it's not Fox News mainstream. Can you not turn Fox News on all day, every day, and watch it?
Yeah.
I often laugh when they refer to mainstream media. I'm like, what the hell you think you are? What do you think you are?
Yeah.
And everything, and you mentioned, we got to be careful because sometimes they say things and it's eating up. Well, what exactly is happening with the 40% of this country that still isn't vaccinated because they're watching Fox News, who ironically, their late evening to late night hosts all preach a lot of anti-vax stuff, but ironically all of them are vaccinated. Everybody employee at Fox News is vaccinated.
Right.
But yet this is what they put out there.
Right.
I don't care about those tail people. I really don't. Okay? Deep down, and I'll be honest, you can edit this or you can leave it in. There's a part of me that applauds, please, don't get vaccinated. Natural selection will take over.
Right.
But as far as us, Busta Rhymes, you know better, brother. Nicki Minaj, okay, she a bubblehead, but she know better.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it. The numbers don't lie, and the numbers didn't lie from the very beginning with this thing. Who was it affecting the most? Who is it still affecting the most? Us.
Oh no, and I'm not editing a damn thing. We talking real talk, bro. And as I say that, my phone literally cut off, and I had to turn it back on to talk to see, they watching. They watching, bro. I said, yo, we talking real talk, and all of a sudden my phone cut off. I said, damn. I said, what? I said, they watching, but no. I said, I'm not editing nothing, bro. We having real talk. Look, everybody who knows me knows that I love everybody. I love everybody. I don't care what your race, what your creed is, but I'm not dumb. Okay, I know that there are people out there who hate me because of my complexion. And I'm not gonna be a novice to that. I have to eventually teach my children that, because I don't want them to run into it and then totally be unprepared.
Right. I try to explain to people. They sometimes things that I've said, and people will interpret them as racist. But I have to be honest with them. Your white neighbor Bob or your coworker Bill, or they didn't do anything to you. They don't bear the responsibility of anything really, other than what they can control day to day. But we were talking about systems and systematic things and things that need to be canceled. And one of those things is the white establishment. Those are the people that may share the complexion of Bill, Bob, and this, that, but they actually can affect and control things that affect you as an individual and you as a people. That's long since needed to go. It just is what it is, and even those that share their complexion would have to admit that that's been a whole thing. It's been a whole thing. So yeah, I'm in favor of cancel culture where it's appropriate, but it's not always appropriate. Like you said, case by case basis, and it is a minority majority thing.
Yeah,
I do believe it should be a minority majority thing anyway.
Right.
If for instance, like, something small, like what do you want to be identified as, for instance, amongst and we were talking about the trans people in terms of what Dave said. Look, you want to be called Miss? I don't care. I'll call you Miss. It doesn't matter what my eyes see. If that's what you identify as, that's fine. In my mind, I know biologically what you are, so it does not challenge my sensibilities or anything else, my belief system, whatever, to disrespect you by calling you something you don't feel comfortable being called. The only thing I will say with that is that shoe and that gate swings both ways. There's a video you can pull up. I actually saw it live. There's a video you can pull up with Mr. T on Dave Letterman, and he was explaining his name, Mr. T, and he said that there was a white guy, and he kept calling him boy, 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 and he gripped him up and said, do I look like a boy to you? He's like, that was the day he decided he was going to change his name to Mr. T. And Dave Letterman, that's your name? He's like, yes, my first name, Mr., last name T. I wanted everybody to show me a sign of respect when they met me.
That's right.
And that's it. And so that's a perfect example. He's been known as Mr. T, as long as we identify with him. Ironically, when I was a kid, I used to swing on his arm because he was a bouncer at a nightclub in Chicago at my work at. But that's
cool.
irrelevant. But the point is, and the Road Warriors work there too, Hog and Animal. But anyway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. All that's neither here nor there. The point is, for throughout his entirety of his career, even now, we identify as Mr. T. So he getting by default, he's Mr.
Right.
Whether you like it or not, you got to call him Mr. So if she, he, whoever that may be, wants to be called Miss or Mrs. or whoever, fine.
Well, Marvin Hagler did the same thing for a similar reason. Like his first name was Marvelous. And it was pretty much for the same reason that you just told me the Mr. T about it. People didn't want to acknowledge him as being Marvelous Marvin Hagler, so he got it legally done. So now you have to.
Exactly. So that's my take on the whole cancel culture, the whole the Dave Chappelle thing. I think that, but I will say this. I do think that over the past 5 years, a lot of warts that were always there have come to the surface and are apparent. I do think that, and even down to an individual level, Bill Bob level, not just the white establishment level, Bill Bob. Because somebody named Bill or Bob that you were cool with, white guy that you were cool with, that you work with or live next door to you, and then over the past 5 years, all of a sudden they started flying "Make America Great Again" flag. It caused an issue in a lot of cases. That's for the individual to work out. I don't have an answer for that. I know how I personally felt about it and interpreted, but that's for the individuals. I'll leave that to them to figure out. The only thing I will say is I maintain my stance, man. You support a racist, you are racist. That's it. I don't care what their politics are, what agenda you may believe in. You know, there's others that don't think that way and don't act that way, and they too believe in those same policies you believe in, but they're not racist.
Okay. What do you think of Charlemagne from Breakfast Club?
I think Charlemagne is if I can be blunt, I think Charlemagne is a self-important Negro. I think a lot of the things that Charlemagne says is true, but then also I think a lot of the things that Charlemagne says is not representative of us as a people, and because of his status as a you know, DJ, disc jockey, whatever you want to call him, just like in the same way Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, they look to these people and dub them as if they're, you know, this representative of all black people or how we all think and feel. We don't. Charlemagne's qualifications, much in the same way as a person like Steve Harvey, who thinks he's a psychiatrist that got all the solutions to your world problems. This dude was a comedian. Like, he was a comedian. He doesn't have any more knowledge than anybody else. And that's what I think that's why I call Charlemagne self-important, because, again, you know, they will call him on and with Charlemagne, what do you think, Charlemagne? What do you think, Charlemagne? What do you think? And then later on it'll be part of this whole, well, Charlemagne the God said, nobody cares what Charlemagne really thinks.
Right.
It just don't. Like, okay. Like, you know, I think it's been a long time since you know, people really, like, back in the day, people cared maybe, you know, what Dr. King said. They cared what Malcolm X said.
Right.
People like that, you know, that's it. Like, Charlemagne doesn't represent anything. Charlemagne is for Charlemagne. Charlemagne has his own beliefs, and that's it. And some of them are misguided. They are.
Okay. All right. Well, brother, definitely. I've been thinking about, you know, asking those questions for the last couple of days, and I definitely wanted your take, your input, and definitely wanted the audience to hear it, because look, you know, just because the truth ain't always right doesn't mean the truth ain't necessary. Well, it doesn't mean just because the truth might not hurt. Doesn't mean that it's not necessary. And the truth really only hurts if you can't take it. Honestly.
I'm confused. Why the question about Charlemagne? Because you gave no input whatsoever about Charlemagne.
Well, because, you know, because when no, nothing happened with him. It's just because, you know, when you were talking about, you know, just when you were talking about, you know, everything that you were saying in regards to, you know, the racism and Trump and things like that, I just thought about, you know, I hear Charlemagne talk about this stuff a lot, but then there are a lot of people that come for Charlemagne's neck, you know, like the situation with Kwame Brown or the situation with Monique, and I just curious, because, you know, he puts himself out there on Front Street, but, you know, I've heard some not so great things about Charlemagne, and I just wanted your input. I mean, I just wanted your opinion.
Howard Stern put himself out there for decades, and he would say the most controversial and sometimes ignorant thing to do what? It's the Kanye effect. Good, bad, or indifferent, publicity is still what? publicity. Anytime Kanye needs to drop an album, Kanye goes out and says something that makes me embarrassed, frankly. And I just like.
Say like you mean like slavery being a choice?
Just something embarrassing that just makes me just like all I can see in my mind is Steven saying, "Massa, who is this nigga on his name?" That's all I can process when I hear stuff like that. Like, this is embarrassing. Like, really? So that's what I think that's what I mean by Charlemagne. And I mean, come on now. From the gate, and then I'll leave this on Charlemagne. Anybody that puts a God in their name. Yeah, they pretty self-important and think that they something more than what they actually are. Like I said, some things he says I agree with because they're common sense things. But then other things he says, I think he says to get people talking about himself. Yeah. Not about what he said, not about the topic, but more so about Charlemagne himself. Yeah. You know. And so, good, bad, or indifferent, that gets him listeners, because either you're gonna hate the guy and dislike him and say, man, let me tune in to see what nonsense this dude gonna say now, or you're just gonna say I'm just never gonna consume that type of stuff. And I'm more so on that side of the fence. I'm not interested in what he's gonna say next because it ain't relevant.
Okay. All right. Well, see, I love
in mixing. The big picture, it's not relevant.
No, it's really not. I mean, honestly, it's just one person's opinion. It's like I said, how much you value that person's opinion that makes it relevant or makes it irrelevant.
It's like listening to Al Sharpton. Clearly, Al Sharpton is a smart man. Clearly, Al Sharpton is going to say some things that are truthful and are accurate and food for thought. But there is that chance that Al Sharpton is going to say something that, as a black person, like, okay, dude. All right, you should have left it where you were. And you just still over here going with it. Or some things, it's sort of like, I don't want to disparage the dude because he does good work. But at the same time, I said to my wife, man, this dude is like weird. I mean, he photobombs like every situation with every black person that has a negative experience. Benjamin Crump.
Oh, yeah.
Attorney, master Negro attorney. Because any situation, I don't care, would you fall and trip over somebody's bike, bet your white person left that bike in the street, there's Ben Crump.
Yeah, I actually follow him on Twitter. I had to kind of scale back from him because every day, he coming with a tweet with something that's, that's just, it kind of puts you in a mind space that you really don't want to be at.
Be a lawyer. Yeah. You are a lawyer, Ben Crump. Be a lawyer. Stop trying to be freedom fighter, civil rights icon, because that's what it comes off to me as. He's trying to elevate himself to civil rights status, and he's going out of his way to do that because he's on speed dial for every situation. Are there no other black attorneys that will think of any case?
Yeah, he's gotten in the front of the line for that one. I don't have a problem with the civil rights stuff. Sometimes it just can get a little bit overbearing, the constant story about something, because injustice is happening every day, everywhere. And I'm not saying it's right, but yeah, sometimes it's just a bit much. And I think he's put himself on the front street to be the civil rights activist, to be the attorney for civil rights issues. Because yeah, every time something happens, you see him.
I'll ask you a side question. Well, it's related. Because we've talked about perceptions and racism, and I said that sometimes I say things that are perceived as racist, but I can only base what I say in fact. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. Can we agree that first of all, can we agree that all life on this planet started in Africa?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Thus, can we agree that forever, basically, all the major civilizations, were African?
Yeah, we agree on that.
Okay, we agree on that.
Yeah.
I said this, and she said, well, you're racist. I said, at it that way if you will, but I'm just being real. The Romans, even the history of America is solely, I mean, it's literally based in racism.
Yeah.
Right, that's part of that whole cancel thing, the critical race theory, and they don't want their kids taught the actual history of slavery. They only want to talk about the Pilgrims. Let's just fast forward. Forget all the extra stuff. Forget all the, that's what the whole critical race theory, critical of their race theory. It's not theory, it's facts, but okay. But I said this to her. I said the census came out about a month and some change ago. Did you see it?
No, actually, I didn't. I heard it came out, but I hadn't looked at it.
Well, for the first time in this country's history, the Caucasians are the minority.
I did hear
They now
that.
comprise 47.8% of America. This constant war of aggression on race, and it's funny because if you read go behind the scenes and read certain things that you think you would never want to read, like the Aryans, like Aryan Brotherhood, or some of those racist organizations. This is something that they've been preaching about for years. They fear that America will become a nation of mud people, that they'll be wiped out off the planet, actually. And that's something that what I said to her was this. I said, what's clear is as long as that elitism exists, that race that thinks that they're superior and willing to subjugate another race exists, nothing will change. Nothing will change. Well, that being said, I said to her, why do you think I asked her, why do you think that they're the minority? Now, and I said, well, I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, immigration is one thing. We know they've always had a problem with immigration, because the faces that are coming here are, the majority are of color.
Right.
Brown people. They don't want to be outnumbered because they want to stay in the majority because the majority rules. They don't ever want us to be the majority. Well, immigration is one thing, but the subplot to the immigration is little Becky is dating Tyrone, or dating Juan, or dating Shang-Chi, but she is starting to drift away from Chad.
I totally understand what you're saying. Just the names make me laugh. That's all.
Now, I also said to her, when we were still talking about the natural selection thing, and I drifted back to that. I said that too is a form of natural selection, and it is a humane form, far humane than they would do with us. How do we know this? Well, she said, why would you say something like that? Well, history bears it out. Anytime they feel threatened as a people, ultimately the powers that be will pull that trigger and they start a process of ethnic cleansing. Okay, and in a non-humane way.
When you say that,
Now,
I think
I say
about.
all that to say, be careful, because we're not far from that thought process drifting around in their head again. If you read a lot of those forums, Stormfront and all that are Aryan Brotherhood, and they're trying to indoctrinate people into exactly what I just spoke on, that this is some big master plan by us, people of color, to eliminate them. Which is why you get the pushback on the other side of the fence, you get the pushback, and it's the pushback is coming from the white establishment. And let's take away the voting rights. Let's close all the borders. Let's make sure, we can diminish their power.
Right.
All of that is trying to stem the tide of what actually is going on behind the scenes.
that system that has a system behind it, and you said it's systemic.
It is what it is. But I predict Chuck D said, and Chuck D's in the news for a whole nother reason, but I actually agree with some of what he said in terms of R. Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
But Bill Cosby, that's the hill you want to die on, Bill. You need to just fade into oblivion, bro.
Yeah.
Just fade, Bill.
I heard that. I was like, no. Come on, man. You're supposed to be going on tour. Go on tour. Talk about your situation, man. Like,
right.
You know, like, don't mention R. Kelly. No. Especially you. Don't mention R. Kelly. Please don't. You know.
But that's where we are with things. I just thought I would speak on that, in terms of that. That's a dialogue that I don't think enough people have. And I also think that people tread lightly on things because, as I said, your coworker Bill, your neighbor Bob has always been cordial to you and never been racist towards you. Not talking about them. They don't have any power. And if they below a certain financial status, these same white establishment individuals that I'm talking about, they don't give a damn about Bill or Bob either, except for their vote.
Nope, that's right.
So, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, again, the powers that be that can affect and that have always affected. And if we were able to go back into time, these same people would likely be those slave owners.
Yeah.
Or working for the slave owners in some cases, because I do hear in terms of slavery, a lot of people, my ancestors didn't own slaves because they were too poor, but did they work for them? Were they an overseer?
Right.
They don't want to talk about that.
Right.
My ancestors fought and died in the Civil War. Okay, well, were they fighting because when they were protecting their own property, their own farm, which I get, or were they fighting because they believed in the cause?
Right.
So, no, unless you can answer that question definitively, then you don't get advocated simply because your ancestors didn't own any slaves. That means nothing. If you're part of the system, if you believe in the system, if you supported the system, then, you're just, in my mind, your ancestor was just as culpable as those that did own slaves. Now, they were in power. They were in a position of power. Abolitionists fought against slavery. If a bunch of them, I'm not talking about abolition, I'm talking about just a bunch of people who were in the majority at that time, occasion, didn't support slavery in the South, then by default, it would have just ended. It would have just ended. It would have never been a need for a civil war or anything like that. But what do I know?
A lot.
I'm in favor of critical race theory. They don't like the term. Switch the term. Switch the words around. But it's true. It is what it is. The kids who do not know need to know.
That's right.
If you're going to teach the truth.
That's that. I feel the exact same way. I really do. I think that's.
And don't be telling nobody Nat Turner was this savage. That is like the most ignorant thing I've ever heard. The man was a slave. That alone justified whatever he felt like he needed to do to be free.
That's right.
There's no civility in terms of that when you're a slave. There's no, I'm going to be civil. I won't hurt anybody on my journey to freedom. No, it don't work that way. People were hurt to take him as a slave. Millions, were hurt. They were hurt during slavery. So, he killed women and children. Do you really want to talk about what happened to our women?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Do you want to talk about what happened to our children? Let it go. Stop trying to defend the indefensible. There was no civility. There was no George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. They were scumbags. They were low class, and anybody that thinks to subjugate another man, woman, anything human there's no honor there.
Exactly.
So, take that trash, F that flag and F that anthem. And for those patriots, and I was in the military, and I'm saying this, an Air Force, and I'm saying this, research the history of the national anthem.
I already have. I already know.
And the flag and the stars, what do they represent? They initially represented colonies. Well, how did they acquire these colonies?
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of indigenous people died.
Yeah.
So they could acquire it, so they could put another star or whatever on the flag. So there's no reason for us to be patriotic. We're here. We don't have to love here to be here. That's the beauty in America, right? Our freedoms.
Oh boy, freedom is starting to get less free day after day after day.
Well, yeah, but applying that, I'll say this: applying that to a vaccination is probably a poor thing, and that's what some do. On the red channels, they're trying to take away our freedoms. Well, I mean, people have always gotten vaccinated, always.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
we used to have to get vaccinated just to go to school.
That clown, Alan West, you know about that guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in a hospital right now because he had COVID. He's putting videos out there, anti-vax videos, and he's talking about monoclonal cell stuff, and that's what he's using, and blah, blah, blah. Ironically, it's by the same company that Trump had the stock in with the hydrochloric when he was touting that. But my point is, if you're going to make the argument about the vaccine, the anti-vaccine, and say that they're trying to, any medical treatment, you can apply that with any medical treatment. Why should I believe that's they're not attempting to do the same thing? It's I don't know. It's just stupid to me. It's just stupid to me. But more importantly, Alan West, we already had discussion about people like him. Massa, who is this nigga on this mag? This is why we couldn't get free earlier. We had these people amongst us.
Yep.
That's it. We had these type of people amongst us.
Yep.
When they like to bring up slavery, that revisionist history, well, you guys sold yourselves. Well, first of all, let's be clear. White guy that's trying to justify slavery. You can't sell something if there's no buyer.
Bingo.
That's it. No black person ever would have got sold by another black person if there wasn't a white face saying, you know what, I buy that. I'll buy that for $1. So take it. Now I don't want to hear that. You know what happened. I know what happened. Everybody knows what happened. Just admit what happened, and then maybe healing, maybe some kind of healing, reckoning can come eventually. But as long as you're sitting there trying to justify it, excuse it, you don't want to acknowledge that elements of it still exist today. You don't want to. You gave the Indian casinos. You acknowledge y'all screwed them over.
Oh yeah, I definitely.
You gave Vietnamese families reparations for what happened in Vietnam. You gave POW survivors. You gave survivors from descendants from Iwo Jima reparations. You acknowledge that, but you don't want to acknowledge this. Slavery was wrong, and we're gonna get reparations in the form of.
No, I don't want to hear that. Honestly, I don't want to hear that, because the one thing I've learned over the last 18 months is that we could definitely get reparations checked. If you can sign 3 stimulus bills, $1 trillion stimulus bills, then black people can definitely get reparations. We only 13% of the country. So it's definitely, no, I don't want to hear that. We're going to give reparations in the form of, the form of don't make up for over 200 years of free work.
Well, their whole thing with giving reparations and all that is, will prove you're an ancestor of a slave. So like they did with the Tulsa people, made them jump through flaming hoops and prove that you're a descendant of the residents out there in Tulsa.
Mm-hmm. Well, so, I already know where my proof is. I didn't see.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I didn't see the picture. I have. I've even seen a picture of my descendants who were slaves. So I already got that proof. So
yeah, but that's what they want. They want that, and then the next question that they stall on is, well, how do we determine what amount? I know you laughing, but I'm just
no, I know. No, I know. I know.
That they made.
I know. I
And
know.
that's a valid one because, you know, in my mind, I can make it real simple. If they ask me, half.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, how'd you come to that number? Well, okay. I mean, we can look historically in African American contribution. Did your ancestors build any of these buildings? Probably not. You know, I mean, it is what it is. There were records that showed revenue of slavery. There were records that show, you can get records that show how much George Washington paid for a slave. They exist. So, I mean, you know, it's not that difficult to figure out.
No, it ain't.
Just get the money up. Just get the money up. Get the money up. And there'll be some people that'll actually take the money and blow it rather than do something
Absolutely.
smart with it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it would
But that
be.
ain't the point. That's their choice. If that's what they choose to do with it, that's their choice. But that's it.
Exactly.
So,
Anyway, dude, let me get up out of here. Get ready to make these kids some dinner. But bro, I mean, you know, as soon as I, upload this, you getting it first.
I want to ask you about this. I meant to ask you that like 5 times before. What's your end game with this?
With what?
With your whole podcast thing?
Oh, I mean, honestly, my end game with it is I do it because I really enjoy it. Honestly, I'm not trying to financially capitalize off of it or anything else like that. Now, if an opportunity presented itself, yeah, sure. But it's honestly something that I do. I can vent. I can vent if I want to. I can really just do what I want. Say what I want. Of course, there's a part of me that's mindful. But I really enjoy just doing it. Like I said, I'm not doing it for any financial gain, but I just enjoy it. I just like it. I just like it. I like, being able to express myself and talk about something that I love, like sports or situations, subjects like we were just talking about. I feel like that I can reach out to people that maybe that I haven't seen or come in contact with in a while. Now I have, a couple of my uncles tell me, hey man, you need to, your podcast is good. You need to, do, whoop-de-whoop-de-woo. And I'm like, well, if the situation, presents itself, sure, why not? But it's nothing that I'm like, gung-ho about. Just me doing this once a week is almost like a form of therapy for me.
Interesting. Before COVID, might have been like 8 months before COVID ever went down. I interviewed at YIP, the 910.
The what?
910.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of the station. It was literally right next to my wife's job at the time. And the show, what is his name? Raider Joe?
Right. Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah. No, I didn't get it, but I did. When you brought, that's the reason why I said I'll do this. When you brought up, because I thought about it, and then there's a couple other people I know. My son had actually brought up being YouTube. He had a ton of likes and stuff. He does like the anime and Dragon Ball Z and all that type stuff.
Right.
So then people flock to that, and also we're gamers.
Right.
So there's a bunch of YouTubers out there that strictly do games, and they.
Oh yeah, I know. I have a cousin that has a game page. Yeah.
So that's what I wonder. I said, okay, what does in game with that? Where do you go with that? And because for real, the second half of this conversation should have been its own podcast.
Yeah, it should have
It
been.
had
Yeah.
nothing to do with sports.
Well, that's why I call it sports plus life, because we talk sports, but then we talk, I talk anything that's necessary in the game of life, because it's all conversation. If somebody, like I said, if the opportunity presented itself and somebody came to me with an interesting proposal of it being more, getting more notoriety, of course I would give it a listen, probably give it a shot, but right now this is so organic and so innocent in a manner of speaking, the way I'm doing it right now. But of course, like I said, if I had the opportunity to expand, I mean wouldn't hurt anybody.
Well, see, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Sometimes you create your own opportunities. If I did the absolute reverse, and I could throw little sports in there, but did the absolute reverse and did just the life aspect of it, would you be down to be a second on that?
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely.
If I did it on YouTube,
absolutely,
because I have that capability. I can do it, and literally, I can do those shows that lick whatever topic that's going on in the world today, that politically or whatever be the case. Even what we were talking about with Dave Chappelle, that could have been its whole own thing. I think those are the type thing. I think the sports dynamic, you gotta, I almost feel like you gotta know somebody.
Oh, in the game,
or be either know somebody in the game, or be just so outlandish that your name gets on people's lips.
Yeah.
Like Stephen A. Smith.
Right.
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 You got to be that type of thing. Whereas in life, it's easy to get on people's lips. It's real easy to get on people's lips. People like Dr. Umar Johnson, for instance.
Oh yeah.
That's how easy it is. And then Dr. Umar can even cross over by saying, I could beat Mike Tyson. And just that whole thing was trending. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So it's just that easy. Because there's a lot of, just like there's a lot of sports fans out here, there's a lot of angry black people.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But then there's also a lot of angry white people. And if you open up the door and say, okay, angry white dude, you come in and say what you gonna say, dude. Don't get ignorant, but you come in and say what you gonna say. Then you have something different. Because you don't have Fox and you don't have MSNBC.
Yeah, right.
They don't mix and match.
No.
They get the most passive Negro that they can find, who is a liberal, and bring him on Fox, like Juan Williams. And then on MSNBC, they get the most passive conservative that they can find, like Michael Steele, and have him on NBC. So he's not threatening to their audience.
Right.
So instead of doing that, why not have that far right crazy on your show? Why not have you? There's always the mute button.
Yeah.
Why not have that far left crazy on your show?
Yeah.
What you scared of?
That's a good point.
So I just food for thought. Just figure I would throw that out, because we on Xbox, we get to these kind of conversations. We be talking for hours on this particular topic, and nothing is off limits. For instance, my boy who's a Ravens fan, he's a dialysis tech up in Baltimore, and we've been playing for years, and I've made my feelings clear on certain subjects. For instance, he is now engaged to Becky.
Right.
And we are cool as shit, but he understands that I'm not a fan. I do not approve. Why? There can be no black. What the main problem with us as a people is the lack of the black family structure. Everybody else got it. Everybody else, Asians, Hispanic, they about the family, and they promote from within. Then now Becky comes into your orbit, you work with her, and her personality just grows on you, and then you fall in love with her, the person. By all means, do what you do. But we know there's an element of brothers that's going to choose them, and they got blinders on. Here's looking at you like Cuba Gooding Jr. and Michael Strahan and all. You got blinders on. You think you can only be something if you got Becky on your hip. When clearly that's not the case. So, anyway, that's a whole different thing. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah, we'll say that for the next podcast.
It's about black family, and it's about us being in disarray as a people. And in order to get that back in perspective, I just feel like, we need to promote from within. There's plenty of black women out there. If you got hell bent on that, and you just think the features of that man, it's enough light skinned black women with hazel eyes, rocking blonde hair out here.
But yeah, man. Hey, look, man. I'm probably gonna call you in the middle of this week, so we can.
I'm surprised you ain't bring up Mr. Wilder.
I
talk about the count, but I watched it, and no, they did not start the count over. They really didn't start the count over.
I started off the show with that, talking about that. It was a great fight. Look, the better man won. Simple. The better man won.
Can we get a little humility, Mr. Wilder? Just some humility.
Yeah, and I did not like the way that he just walked out the ring. I mean, the better man did. The better man won. It was the second knockdown. The referee said 5, 6, 7. Turned around, told Wilder go to a neutral corner, and when he started counting again, he said 6, 7. I was like, wait a minute. I don't know if you caught that, but I was like, wait a minute. What the hell? That just.
The ref paused, turned around, he got 6 out, and he started with 7 and turned around. But my question is, what the hell was Wilder doing?
Well, yeah, exactly, because there's a referee on the side of the ring that's supposed to be keeping count as well. So it's like he dropped the ball as well. But I mean, all in all, it was a great fight. It was a great fight. Like I said, the better man won. The better man won. Deontay had his shot, but he didn't look right after the third round. When he got knocked down, he looked off balance the rest of the fight, even though he showed a lot of heart coming back to drop him twice. But, I mean, I don't know where he goes from here now with his career.
They probably need to call it. Take your money and call it because, actually, maybe not, because I believe Fury is more likely to walk away.
Well, see, I know Fury wants.
If he goes smack up Joshua, he can walk away.
Yeah.
He got a legacy.
Yeah, Fury wants Joshua. Fury wants Joshua, and he'll beat Joshua hands down. And that wouldn't surprise me that, if he fights Joshua, even if he fights Joshua twice, because they signed a 2-fight deal. But even if he fights him twice and beats him twice, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he walked away. It'd be nothing else left for him to prove.
Because he's somewhat of a celebrity, and he's like Gronk. He wants to be in other stuff, and maybe try to be in movies or something. Right. And he has that type of a personality.
And if you do that, then you know who you end up being? The white version of?
Who?
Definitely not as good a boxer, but the way the legacy will be viewed, his legacy.
Mayweather?
No, he'll be like Lennox Lewis.
Oh, Lennox Lewis, yeah. Well, see,
Like Lennox Lewis.
And see, that's the issue. They tried to turn Joshua into Lennox Lewis, and clearly he ain't Lennox Lewis. But anyway, I'm going to get at you, bro, because we got to talk about that, too, because Lennox Lewis is about to step back in the ring with our boy. I'm going to definitely get at you. Like I said, I'm about to make these kids something to eat. But till next time, bro, and you're going to get this as soon as it's uploaded.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right.
My man, Tony. I'm telling you, man, this is why I love talking to him, because the knowledge that he drops is second to none. And it's like, me. Look, y'all, anybody who considers himself a part of my audience, look, y'all know I love everybody. I love everybody. Like I said, I don't care what your race or what your creed is. My thing is that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be mindful of the things that has happened or the things that continue to happen in regards to my race of people. To me, the fight for equality is an important fight. And to me, I think our school systems in regards to teaching the history of this country has dropped the ball big time, because you're not telling the truth. You're not telling the truth of this country. Now, contrary to what my homeboy said, I don't have an issue with interracial marriage, but I do agree with him as far as the structure of the black family needing to improve. I agree with that 100%. Who you love and who you want to be with is your business, though. It is your absolute business. But anyway, with that being said, with a buzzer. And another thing, as far as the end game, as far as what the end game is for this podcast, Sports Plus Life, it's just something that I really enjoy doing. I really enjoy doing it. I've expressed that a few times on here that, I know I don't have many listeners, and that doesn't matter to me because I can get on here and say what I want. I can vent, and if it's one person that listens to this and, just has a positive vibe from it and just likes the way that it flows, then you know what? I'm cool. I'm good. Now, if somebody wants to come and dump a little money or something like that or try to get me to a broader audience, hey, of course I'm down to listen. I'm down to listen. Like I said, I'd probably try it. But anyway, over the last 3 weeks, I've done a segment called Brandon's Funny True Stories. Now, I'm not going to do that today. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that today, and I'll tell you why. Because these stories that I have coming up, I need my brother Sean Vance with me to analyze this story. But anyway, it is your boy, Brandon Brevon Towns. This has been another episode of Sports Plus Life. If you've not yet hit that subscription button, go ahead and hit that button and become part of the Sports Plus Life family. All right? It's your boy, Brandon Brevon Towns. I'm out this bill. Peace.